So, what a glorious day. Renee Dunn-Martin, who is responsible for so much of today's event, promised me that she has never, ever, ever had rain on a day like today at the port. So whatever is between her and the guy upstairs, let's give her a round of applause. It is incredible to see all of you here today. It is amazing. As some of you probably know, today is a very important Jewish holiday, and I got in a lot of trouble for having the event today because so many people wanted to be here today. So thank you all for whatever it took to be here today, but this is as much yours as it is ours, and we really couldn't do it without you. And so it is my profound privilege on behalf of the Port of San Francisco to welcome you all here today to the new James R. Herman Cruise Terminal. You are our community. You are our policymakers, you are our staff, you are our mariners, our dock workers, our neighbors, our friends, our regulators, our tenants. All of you are the community that made this day the moment that it is. And it is a grand moment. It is a moment that celebrates the ports and the city's past, as well as the ports and the city's future. So it is a really, really important day, and we just could not have been here without each and every one of you. So I'd like to ask those of you that actually touched this project in any way, shape, or form to please raise your hands. Hundreds of you. Thank you all very, very much. Really, thank you very, very much. So I want to take a quick minute and tell you who is up here sharing the stage with me today. First and foremost, the Honorable Mayor Ed Lee. President of the Board of Supervisors, David Chu. This is really interesting. They seated it so that I'm going to be doing this. President of the Port Commission and former Board of Supervisor, Leslie Katz. Vice President of the Port Commission and Treasurer of the ILWU, Willie Adams. President of the International Longshore and Warehouse Union, Bob McAlrath, Robert. Director of the San Francisco Public Works, Mohammed Nuru. Turner Construction, Cavinder Singh. Metro Services, Stefano Barzone Pina. Vice President, Shore Operations, Princess Cruises, Bruce Crumrine. Port Commissioner Kimberly Brandon, who has been... You're clapping for yourself. Commissioner Brandon has been with the port for a very long time as a tireless volunteer, and she has kept us on this path for too many years to mention. And in front of all of you, I want to say, Commissioner, thank you for your support, your commitment, and your trust in getting us here today. And most of all, thank you for your leadership. So please, for Kim. Commissioner Doreen Wu Ho. And former port commissioners, I'm going to do it really fast. Michael Hardiman, Ann Lazarus, Rodney Fong, Ann Halstead, Pius Lee, all of whom had something to do with the project being here today, and the Honorable First Lady, Anita Lee. So thank you all very much. Oh! I knew this wasn't going to work. And Commissioner Mel Murphy, thank you very much. All right, so today we celebrate our collective achievement. As I said, we're celebrating a very long San Francisco heritage, and we are marking the beginning of a new day in our San Francisco cruising tradition. And there's really no better way to kick off a celebration such as this, but with a song. And this is a song that evokes the history of our country, the traditions, and its struggles, our very own national anthem. And to sing it for us, we have our very own Miss Brianna Oakley. Brianna is a sensational teenage singer. She has the most wonderful hair, first and foremost, followed by a terrific soulful voice. And she has debuted not once but twice on American Idol, auditioning at AT&T Park. And we expect to see her back there soon so she can be the winner that takes all. So ladies and gentlemen, singing the Star-Spangled Banner, please rise and welcome Brianna Oakley.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
The Mutual Hair Society. Was that great or what? Seriously, Brianna, that was the perfect note for a perfect day. And may your journeys take you to grand places, and as we say in the maritime business, with fair winds and following seas. So best wishes to you, and thank you again. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause. So I would love to tell you that there are just a couple dignitaries that I need to introduce, and we could do it really quick, and there's just no way. So you're all dignitaries. Take a bow. Thank you very much for being here today. I do quickly want to recognize a couple of our city supervisors, London Breed, Katie Tang, Scott Weiner, and Norman Yee, who are going to be running over here as soon as they finish in committee. We are blessed to be joined by three of our consul generals, Ms. Hilde Jane from Norway, Ms. Carrie Doyle from Canada, and Mr. Hiroyoshi, I can't even notes, from Japan. I just screwed that up completely, so I'm going to get back to you on that one. We also have some great cruise line executives. There's John Stoll from Crystal Lines who flew in, And also Silver Seas is represented today, and of course Princess Cruises. We are blessed to be sponsored by 9 of San Francisco's finest companies: Princess Cruises, Prologis, Autodesk, the Exploratorium, Bodine Sourdough, Architectural Resources Group, the Pier 39, Impart, and Turner Construction. That was 9, so I got that one right. So thank you all to our sponsors. So as I mentioned, cruising has a very, very long history in San Francisco. It really is part of our heritage. Cruising goes back to the early 1800s. Those were the days when that was your only way of transport. Most of our families immigrated to the United States on a ship. In the 1800s, they got to bunk next to the mail bags and the cargoes. And then by the 1830s, the steamships came along, and we started to pay attention to the cruise experience. And there started to be some competition for making the cruise experience more of a leisure event. So entertainment was brought on board in order to kind of distract from the roiling seas. And one very innovative company actually brought on a live cow so that they could have fresh milk for the 14-day transatlantic journey. So we've come a long way. In 1867, Mark Twain boarded the first outbound American cruise trip, and he voyaged for about 6 months. He came back and he published a book called Innocents Abroad. Some of you may know it. And from that point on, cruising started to really take off, and black ties were introduced to kind of lend a more romantic feel to the trip, and the term posh came about. And the term posh is rumored to be a backronym, if you know what that means, meaning port out, starboard home. So cruising really started to take off. And by the 1900s, this was the Gilded Age of cruising. And San Francisco was not about to be left out. So stop talking, Randy Monolato. So in the 1900s, Pier 35 got on the docket by the Port of Harbor Commissioners, and it was really ahead of its time. It was built as a multimodal facility. It was built to handle cargo. You all remember that in this point, cargo was really very man-powered. It came over the lines, over the shoulders, and it was meant to handle passengers. And it was built incredibly because it has lasted us 96 long years. And so imagine the vision and the craftsmanship that went into that. We are really blessed that our forefathers thought of that. But now it's time for us to have another renaissance in our cruise era, and we have built this magnificent facility, the James R. Herman Cruise Terminal, and we hope that it too will last us another century and be a symbol of all that we stand for historically and prospectively. And so I want to thank all of you for being a part of our very long journey. It's taken us too many decades to count to get here today. It has been a Herculean task, but we have done it, and we are so excited to celebrate all of it with you. And so to get everything going, I would love to introduce to you a man who has dedicated his life to public service, someone who has made it his job to ensure the economic stability of our city, to make sure that it is vibrant for both our neighborhoods, our waterfront, and our communities, and has made jobs a very, very big emphasis. Please welcome Mayor Ed Lee.
Thank you, Monique. Thank you for your hair as well. Well, first of all, Monique, thank you. Your leadership, along with the port commissioners and staff, along with their incredible collaboration with departments like Public Works and Building Inspection, brought this to our day. But let me just say a few words about history, because Al Pakari is here for a reason. He understands the history of this city. And you got to read his books, you got to know, and you got to fascinate. Many of you were with Anita and I just last year, right in this vicinity, when we heard the incredible concert that Sting put on for America's Cup 34. Wasn't that a great time? Yeah. And now to hear Brianna sing, it just reminded me, we're going to get you on a concert tour somewhere. That's for sure. That it's more than just a cruise ship place. I know why there's some incredible claps for our Princess Cruise Terminal leaders because it's about entertainment, it's about enjoyment as well, and celebration. And we did that with America's Cup, but we also made some promises that the event, and when we host events, whether it's Super Bowl, whether it's the World Series with our Giants, who are here today as well, and they'll be in the playoffs, right, Jack? Yes. Or whether we're doing things like improving the Jefferson Street Wharf or the Brandon Street Wharf, these are legacies that we want to really help produce for the rest of the city that will last for generations. But for this particular cruise ship, what Willie Adams understands, what our ILWU leaders understand greatly, is it's a piece of our city's history. How we were founded, how people struggled, and what they did to make San Francisco the gold mountain for many of the immigrants, the port, the incredible industry for the entire West Coast. So that is why there is such incredible support for naming this James R. Herman Cruise Ship Terminal. It is to honor the labor and the people and the working families who don't get enough credit in this city often, but they are certainly in our administration because they're helping me rebuild and build this city the right way. So when we announced this, there was incredible support for it being known as the James R. Herman Cruise Ship Terminal for that very reason. And so we have historians here, we have educators like Art Tyler from City College. I see Chamber of Commerce people here, sports leaders all over the place. But I also say ordinary citizens who not only serve on commissions past and present, but also people who just stepped up and say, I want to be a part of the future of this city with this incredible stuff. Should have been inside just a minute ago. I talked to the head of the Custom Border and Patrol. Their staff is excited. In fact, they told me they had not seen in the entire West Coast a full-fledged border service entity, facility like this for over 20 years. And it's incredible, and their staff is going to be really happy working in a full-fledged facility, from bottom up, top down. The workforce here, I want to thank Turner Construction for on time, on budget. I love contractors to do that. They work so well, on time, on budget. But I also want to say thank you to America's Cup 34 because that thrust us to think about legacies that we would create out of great events. It's no longer those single events that are just a purpose, they start and they end. It's what we as a city do with them to create even more value. And this is part of our history. Al knows that. It's not just great individuals, but what they leave behind us that allows generations to celebrate and do things and do more things. And this is what we're celebrating as part of this event today. So what are the legacies? Well, in the building and design of this, you also have a lot of local companies that participate. In fact, local resident workforce was at an all-time high of over 26% of the entire labor force. Right here, building, designing, and making this work. And in addition, what I'm particularly proud of is that you will see another 26% of all of our local businesses operating right here in this facility, from caterers to all kinds of stores and local merchandise selling. They'll be right here to be part of this incredible place. It's not only a cruise ship terminal landing. I think it's going to be a party center. I already got my reservations in for the U.S. Conference of Mayors to visit here. I get to brag to 300 other mayors. What do you got that matches this? It's worth that. It really is worth it. That's why I say we're proud to represent our labor history in this city. We're proud to say that the port has done it right. We're also proud to say that citizens, individuals, people like Lucy Jew and others stepped up and said, I'm going to help make this place beautiful. And later on, we're going to celebrate this 3-acre open space appropriately, given attention, and do the Lucy Jewett Grove. If you have time, go by there. That's going to be a beautiful thing. But we're going to give it its due specific recognition because it deserves that. But this is the beauty of San Francisco. This is where things happen. And we'll match this up with all of the things that have historically attracted people along our waterfront. Pier 39, Fisherman's Wharf, Jefferson Street Realm, Autodesk, all the way to the Giants. And all along here, people will not only pass us by, they'll stop through, they'll come through, and they'll participate. So that Anita and I, one of these days, can do something I have never done, is take a cruise. I still gotta try to find time to do that. So why not take it from Pier 27? But I want to, again, say all of these things and celebration. We've done this right. We've done this well. And this is for generations to come. I'm very proud of everybody who was responsible to put this on, to build it, to design it. But I'm also going to say I am so proud of the City County of San Francisco because the residents, the neighbors, they got together and said, this is what we want out of events like America's Cup. This is what we continue to need. And that America's Cup is a gift that just keeps on giving. And I even had Monique potentially put that video, and I think she did that already, is put the video up inside so that when people come off the ship, they'll see the excitement of the 34th America's Cup. This is what we do in the city. This is a great representation of it. Thank you to everyone involved for lending your support to this and to make this continue to be a special place for San Francisco. Let's celebrate for the entire city. This is ours, and we get to share this with our kids and generations to come. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, for being here today and for all of your leadership and all of the work that's gone on. Next, it is my pleasure to introduce a man who's been working since his youth, who has straddled both the private and public sectors. He's been a community activist, a civil rights advocate, a criminal prosecutor, and a founder of a technology firm, just to dabble around here and there. He is serving an unprecedented third term as president of the Board of Supervisors. Please join me in welcoming President of the Board of Supervisors, David Chu.
Good afternoon, San Francisco. It is my honor to welcome you to our Northeast neighborhoods, and because none of my colleagues are here yet, I want to welcome you to the best neighborhoods in the city and county of San Francisco, right here. And I want to thank you for being part of another amazing chapter of the story of San Francisco. We are a city that brings millions of people around the world to these very neighborhoods. In fact, it is our city that brought a young man from Seattle named Ed Lee, who became our mayor. It is this city that brought a woman who hailed from Washington, D.C., the president of our Port Commission. It is this city that brought another young man from Missouri, our vice president, Willie Adams. And 22 years ago, when I was 22, I first came to these very neighborhoods. And like all of you, we all fell in love with what is our waterfront. Now, I will tell you, 6 years ago, when I ran for office here in the Northeast neighborhoods, I had hundreds of constituents, many of whom are here today, who asked me, what is the city going to do to fix up our piers? Because if you remember, it wasn't too long ago, our piers were falling into the sea. We have Pier 35, a former cruise ship terminal that's been around for 100 years. And our neighborhoods came together, our neighborhood associations came together, working with our environmental groups, working with developers, working with city staff, working with mayors and our boards of supervisors. We brought the best science museum on the West Coast to the Exploratorium at Piers 15, 17. We brought the best sailing race in the world last year with the America's Cup, and we used that to make sure that we move forward legislation and $100 million of investment right here to build the best cruise ship terminal on the West Coast that we are announcing today. Let me tell you, we need to establish the grand entrances from the world. We have San Francisco Airport. When folks get off that plane, that is their view into our city. And now when folks come by they're going to see this incredible, amazing building, not just a green building, but an amazing park where we're all going to be hanging out with our families and our kids. And let me also just take a moment to thank all of the folks that worked to get us here. Can we give it up for the men and women of labor who helped to build this building? And of course, it was the men and women of ILWU who for a century have helped to make sure that we are bringing in millions of new San Franciscans to our place. Thank you, ILWU. Let me just close with one image of young men and women coming off the gangway who are going to come into the city, and some 22-year-old's going to roll down this gangway, look onto San Francisco and say, you know, someday I'm going to be a port commissioner, I'm going to be a supervisor, I'm going to build the next terminal, I'm going to be the next mayor. And that is because of what we did here in 2014. That is part of the story of who we are as San Franciscans. Congratulations, this is our story.
Thank you very much, President Chu, and for your words of inspiration and all your acknowledgments, and I look forward to yet another terminal coming forward someday. Next, it's my pleasure to introduce a woman who's also been in the public and private sectors. She's been an elected official, a community advocate, and is now a strategic consultant. And she aspires to Margaret Mead's belief that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. And if that isn't proved today, I don't know what is. Please welcome President of the Port Commission and former board supervisor, Leslie Katz.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Monique. I want to just thank Mayor Lee for his leadership and vision and ensuring that we had the investment to make this cruise ship terminal possible. And Supervisor Chu, thank you, and the rest of the board members for all of your leadership. Now I'd just like to say to all of you, because I actually hasn't formally been said like this, welcome to our brand new Jimmy R. Herman cruise ship terminal. I think you're going to hear common themes from all of us, the themes of coming together, of being a beacon, of creating signature sites and spots along the waterfront. I think all of us have said that. But I think most importantly, and we've all emphasized this as well, it's our people. It's the people that make up the fabric of the city, from the members of all of the different commissions and boards to all the residents that are so active in everything that we do. That's what really makes our city strong. To the leadership from our workers and the various labor unions that have always been strong in San Francisco, to the businesses that are here that support all of us in the creative ways that we approach our work. So I really want to let you know that we are all so thankful to so many of you who've made this terminal a reality. Perhaps what many may not even remember, but as Commissioner Brandon recently pointed out, we've tried before to get a new terminal, and this time we have more than succeeded. At one point, it was a leap of faith to think that, as she recently said, the port envisioned a new terminal, but now we've actually done it. So truly a team effort. So today marks the culmination of efforts that have been going on for almost 15 years to build a new terminal. And I don't think anyone would have expected that today we would have such a state-of-the-art, environmentally friendly, architecturally significant, and absolutely beautiful building with over 5 acres of parks and public access along the waterfront here on top of that. Mayor Lee mentioned some of the sustainable features, and I won't go into all of those, but we actually have gray water that will fuel or provide the water going through our toilets. We have gray water that will water our beautiful park behind you. So we're harvesting that from the roof, and if any of you are able to see it from above, you'll see that it slopes, mimicking the waves, but also functioning to collect that water. It's low energy. We have all sorts of sustainable features, and I will direct all, without listing them all, I direct you to our website for that. It's built to LEED standards. It has day lighting, and we even have special bird-resistant materials on the windows so that birds won't be harmed flying into the side of our building. So I think we've really thought of almost everything. I also don't want to give you a list of all the facts and unique properties of the building, because it would just take too long. I'll direct many of you to your program, but suffice it to say, it really is extraordinary what's been accomplished here. So now we're finalizing what so many have been dreaming of and who've been working tirelessly to try to make this happen. Many, many, many people have helped to make today possible, and there certainly isn't enough time to thank you individually or even organizationally. It was the vision of so many others, from staff to community members to a myriad of city leaders who made this a reality. And today's commission certainly played a significant part in ensuring that the project came to fruition, but so many of our former commissioners were instrumental in providing that vision for the success of the terminal we have today. So I want to thank all of you. And now I'd like to thank, and I'm joined on the stage by, I'm going to have to pull a Monique here looking back and forth, Commissioner Adams, Commissioner Brandon, Commissioner Murphy, and Commissioner Wu Ho. We are certainly the lucky ones to be on the commission at completion time. I know it's hard to thank everyone, but I do want to recognize some of the port staff who've really gone above and beyond to ensure the success of our terminal. Kim Von Blon, John Dahl, Peter Daly, John Davey, Jay Edwards, Tom Carter and his crew, Elaine Forbes, Sydney Sansom, and Dan Hodup. Thank you all, and so many others on the port staff. Of course, the leadership, tenacity, sleepless nights, as she must have wondered if we'll ever be able to pay for all of this, as well as the vision of our executive director, Monique Moyer, has really been the driving force behind all that we've accomplished here today. Her commitment and that of her leadership team to this project has not wavered once. And with the combined effort of everyone here, and many of you have been mentioned, this facility has been realized, and we're all thankful to Monique for helping to make this happen. So. You beat me to the punch. I was going to say, as somebody said previously, a project like this, it's on time and on budget, is truly unexpected. So give her another hand, please. Our commission and the port staff work hard to bring great projects with us and for our community here to our waterfront, from parks to restaurants to ballparks to museums to entertainment venues, and now from the first cruise terminal, shore power on the West Coast, to one of the largest berths available for ship repair. And now we have this added wonderful new jewel to serve our community. I wasn't going to say it, but since the mayor said it first, it will be quite a spectacular party facility when the ships aren't in berth. Our new terminal really is part of the vision of creating a destination that not only serves our visitors from around the state, around the country, and internationally, but serves our local community as well. As I've said, this couldn't have happened without the work of so many of our partners, all of whom came together to ensure success, from the ILWU, other construction trade unions, Turner Construction, Metro Ports, our community advisory committees, our residents, commissioners from not just our commission, but several others, the staff, and our entire city family. We've all demonstrated what can be accomplished when we come together. Our new terminal is already being spoken about throughout the world. An increase in scheduled cruise ship visits has we've already seen that uptick, and it's only going to go higher. So it'll not only help the port itself, but will also bring an influx of visitors to our beautiful city and our waterfront. So once again, San Francisco has set an example of how we're stronger as a result of our diversity and our ability to work together to realize our various visions. So thank you all for joining us in this celebration and for making our new cruise ship terminal possible. So thank you. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce someone who truly has been here from the inception of this project. Vice President of the Port Commission, International Secretary of Treasurer of the ILWU, cultural advocate, community leader, Willie Adams has also been part of the first Blue Ribbon Cruise Terminal Advisors panel to help guide the project. After that service, he was appointed by Mayor Lee to the Port Commission and has further shaped today's terminal. I just want to take a moment to reflect on Jimmy Herman and what he stood for, and how lucky we are today to have somebody who I think embodies the kind of person that Jimmy Herman was. I was lucky enough to have met Jimmy, and I think Willie Adams really represents the kind of person that Jimmy was. Forthright, insightful, passionate, an educator, strong, and also kind. So I'd like to now introduce my friend and colleague, Brother Willie Adams.
First of all, I'd like to say I'm very glad that the members of my family, the IOW, are here. But, you know, when we stand on this holy ground today and remember 1934 and the heartbeat of those 80 years later, you would know this, that 80 years ago, 1934, the longshoremen, the policemen, and the National Guard, we were fighting. And we were fighting to try to start a union. It was the working class. Let's fast forward 80 years. It's about progress. There's always struggle in moving forward. And today, the same people that were fighting, we're all here together. Because one thing that San Francisco does, we get it right. We're able to get beyond our differences and look at the big picture. In 2006, then Mayor Newsom had a vision. He put a blue ribbon commission together. And when I received the call, he says, I don't want support. He says, anybody can pat you on the back and give you support. He says, I want a commitment, because commitment means action. And today, that commission was formed in 2006, and we made the recommendations to the mayor and the board, and we didn't know how to pay for it, but we put the recommendations forward. And Director Moyer, along with the team from the city, and this lady here, she has the guts of a gunslinger, let me tell you. The reason why we move forward is like our present mayor, Ed Lee. Ed Lee has always said on many occasions, the future belongs to the bold. And for a city this size, we might be a welterweight in our size, but we punch above our weight. And we believe in this city. And when I think about today, James Herman, Jimmy was just a working class guy from Delancey Street for his caring about the waterfront. But what it does, it represents each and every citizen of San Francisco. And we decided as a commission, Ellen Jockney was on that commission. I will mention everyone, Frankie Lee, Steve Falk, Joe DeZandro, Redmond Kernan, Bruce Cromine, John Martin, Stefan Grano, Ben Rossfield, and Michael Sweet. One thing we all agreed is San Francisco is a world-class city. Why would we not have a world-class cruise terminal? The world, everyone looks to us. We are the standard by which every other citizen, every other city now raises the bar. We have raised the bar in San Francisco. The average age in this city is 27 years old. We're vibrant. We have a renaissance going on in our city because this is a city that thinks out of the box. The heavens and earth shook this morning when they knew that this cruise terminal was opening up officially because it speaks to our culture, our history, and the proudness that we have as San Francisco. This terminal belongs to the citizens. It belongs to the world. We are a city, eventually one day may have the Olympics. We can't hide. We are a city on the move, and we make no apologies. In closing, I'd like to say I am going to introduce a man that's not only a friend and a mentor, but Robert McElrath is a 42-year member of the International Longshoremen and Warehousemen's Union. Bob came from the docks of Vancouver, Washington. Bob's married, his wife Sally, his sons Pete and Jason, and his grandkids is the love of his life. But Bob is one of the most militant and progressive labor leaders, not only nationally, but throughout the world. In 2006, Bob rose to the holy grail of politics in the IOW by becoming the 6th international president of the International Longshore and Warehouse Union. And Bob is totally committed, as he always has been, to the port, to the city. He has a big job. He oversees 29 West Coast ports, Alaska, Hawaii, and Panama. But in saying that, he's a visionary, and he is a true working class leader. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please give the welcome to the international president of the International Longshore and Warehousemen's Union, Bob McElrath.
Thank you, Will. Thank you, Will. Thank you very much. There's a couple of things you don't do, and one is follow Willie in a speech. But, Mayor, thank you, and there's a lot of people to thank for this occasion, but I want to thank one person, Monique. I want to say I've committed myself, the ILW is committed to make this cruise line and this cruise terminal function well and smoothly so all the passengers enjoy their trip. We'll hit a bump in the road now and again, but you have the commitment from the ILWU that we will do whatever it takes. Thank you. So here we are. You know, a lot can be said, and here we are. We're in the beautiful city of San Francisco today. We're at this beautiful cruise terminal, to name it after a beautiful man, James R. Herman. I'll tell you, I knew Jimmy Herman. He's a great guy. He was a giving guy. He would give of himself. He gave to the city of San Francisco, for those of you that knew him. And there's a lot of ILWU guys here. There's a lot of labor leaders here, a lot of labor here. And you all knew Jimmy Herman. If you didn't, talk to somebody that did, because he was a beautiful man, a very, very beautiful man. He was appointed to the Port Commission by Feinstein, reappointed by Art Agnos, and reappointed again by Willie Brown. So Jimmy Herman was quite the man in San Francisco. Beautiful man. He also gave himself to the city. He gave himself to the Delancey Street Rehabilitation Program. He gave to St. Anthony's Kitchen, and he gave to dozens of other charities. And he was the kind of guy that would go down the street, and he would just give people money. He would pull out a $20 bill, and we know we have people that aren't as fortunate as us, and he gave all the time. And I got to know Jimmy back in the day. For you, Willie, it's 45 years, not 42. But I got to meet Harry, but I got to know Jimmy, and Jimmy was a great guy. And I can remember one time we had a strike. There was picket lines, and we were at the Greyhound, and it was a pretty violent, pretty raucous picket line. So back in those days, I was a little bit better shape, and they appointed me as his bodyguard along with another guy. They said, don't let anybody get to Jimmy. And we said, we got it. But I got to know Jimmy. He's a great guy. And Jimmy was giving, as I've said. But you know what? Jimmy gave to the ILWU. It was his family. James R. Herman was a very, very giving man to the family. And you know, now that he's gone, he's still giving back to the ILWU. All these people that unload and load the vessels that come in here are all ILWU. And Jimmy is still here because his name's on the wall. And it's now the James R. Herman Cruise Terminal, and he's given it back to us again from the ILWU. I want to thank you and thank James R. Herman. Thank you.
That was terrific. Thank you very much, Commissioners Katz and Adams and President McElrath, and to everyone who is part of the ILWU and all the related unions. Thank you very, very much for your service. It has been an incredible journey to work with all of you, and your own leadership has been fantastic. So thank you for that. It is now my turn to correct my little fumble earlier, and I want to again recognize Consul General of Japan, Hitoshi Nishimura, and welcome him. Thank you. And our public defender, Jeff Adachi, and our city attorney, the city attorney, Dennis Herrera, and I saw Supervisor Yee come in. Thank you for running over after your committee. Apologies to anyone else I can't see, but there are hundreds and hundreds of you. Next, it is my pleasure to introduce a man who apparently just never sleeps. Today, you see, he's decked out in a nice suit, doing his job, running his business. By this afternoon, you're going to find him in a green vest, looking at litter and graffiti and making sure the city works. And tonight, if it rains again, he's probably going to be driving around, making sure our streets are safe for all of us who are huddled under our covers. Please welcome Director of Public Works, Mohammed Nuru.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this great event today. San Francisco Public Works, which is the department that I run, we are truly excited to be part of this Ionic project. A modern cruise terminal for the 21st century on San Francisco's historic waterfront. A big hand for that, please. Here in this very beautiful city, where on one side we have Telegraph Hill, and on the other side we have the Bay, we are weaving together past, present, and future to further cement San Francisco's place as an international destination. We delivered a state-of-the-art working cruise terminal, as you have heard, on time and on budget, and created a wonderful new park where visitors, residents can watch the cruise ships sail off the deck, come back, and also enjoy our waterfront all year round. This is a project that we can all be proud of. It's going to bolster our important hospitality industry going forward, and building it with San Franciscans is a great achievement. That has been one of Mayor Lee's cornerstones of his administration, to provide local jobs. And we not only created those jobs, we exceeded our participation and our goals for both local business and local hiring. A few people I'd like to recognize who worked on the project: our city architect, Edgar Lopez, our city engineer, Fuad Suisse, two project managers who were actually on this construction project, Cindy Magville and Oscar G., who worked every day to make sure that our project was here and delivered on time. Many of our construction managers, our landscape designers who actually got the opportunity to design the park, contract administrators, staff from our materials testing lab, all parts of our organization were part of this project in bringing this beautiful building here. Special thanks to Kavinder. Kavinder Singh is from Turner Construction, and we've worked very closely with them on many projects, but on this one was a very, very exciting one, and you will hear from him in a minute when I get done speaking. But most importantly, the strong partnership that we have with the Port of San Francisco, with Monique. Under the mayor's leadership, I have worked in this city for many, many years, but under Ed's leadership, all the city departments, the PUC, MTA, planning, I saw John Rand out there, all of us were working together to make this city a beautiful city and a city that works. And so it's a great day today. I'm very thankful to be here. And without further ado, I'll ask Kavinder Singh from Turner Construction to come and say a few words. Thank you very much.
Well, as luck would have it, I get to follow all these natural public speakers. I'm just a contractor. But first, I'd like to thank Monique Moyer, because such recognition is generally not offered to contractors. It's not that common, so thank you. Since I knew that I was going to be following all these great speakers, I wrote notes, but let's put them in there. I'm going to try and wing this one. A couple of years ago, I was at the Port Commissioners meeting where a contract was ratified, and I got to speak. I got up and I said, for us at Turner, the project completion under budget, on schedule is just a given. For us, the journey is more important, and we hope the journey is a memorable one. And I know Monique stopped me short and said, well, we're hoping for good memories. I think and I believe that, if not all, most of us who were associated with this project are going to have fond memories. Because this project, and I've been associated with many, has been an example of cooperation. And this is not happening by accident. I'll try to recognize why this is happening. Under Mayor's administration and the leadership of Mohammed Nuru, the city is really implementing new contracting methodologies and therefore creating a very business-like environment that allows us, the contracting community, to deliver projects efficiently, on time and under budget, even though those things are cliches. I also want to recognize the city architect, Edgar Lopez, who really is breaking norms and bringing a very business-like attitude within the city. And that really, again, allows us and creates an environment that creates projects like this and the success, which is very evident. I also want to thank Cindy McGill and Oscar, who helped us keep our eyes on the ball. And, of course, our client, Kim Von Blom, Uday, and I believe the new city engineer, Kim. Thank you very much for being great customers. I also want to thank our own team that was led by Tina Smith, Gray Crush, and Cliff Watkins. But lastly, I think I'd be remiss if I did not thank, of course, all our subcontractor partners, the labor who helped us build the job, and of course, the design team, the architects, led by KMD and Peter Pfau Architects. I want to thank Ryan Stevens, my friend, and Peter Pfau, to giving us a great piece of architecture. And thanks again, the city and the public, for letting us be at your service. Thanks.
Thank you. Excuse me. There's so many important people, so we'll get to that in just a second. But thank you, Mohammed, for your kind words. Thank you to all the public works staff. It's been a pleasure to welcome you into the Port family, into the best department in the entire city. We wish you could stay with us, but it's been a great endeavor, and we thank you for all of that. And to Turner Construction, to see this project run by so many women at the Port, at the Department of Public Works, and at Turner Construction has just been a great step forward for all of us. It is part of the diversity of our city, and we've been really, really fortunate. And we just really can't go any further without recognizing the great architects who came up with this vision, Dan Lamb, Peter Pfau, and Jim Rowe. We've been very, very fortunate. There just aren't cruise terminal architects oh plenty, so this has been fantastic. They designed on the go because we kept evolving and evolving and evolving as the America's Cup came along and the park got bigger and everything was happening, and they were just tremendous. So thank you to them. If I could have a round of applause for all of them. So a couple more notables I would like to mention. Charlotte Schultz, I got it right this time, for being here today, our Director of Protocol. The Mayor already mentioned, but Mrs. Lucy Jewett, our Park Commissioner Mark Buell, Harlan Kelly, our Director of the Department of Public Utilities, Naomi Kelly, our City Administrator, way in the back there, Nadia Sisse, the Director of Public Finance, who gave us some money. Thank you, Nadia. And so many more. It's just been such an honor to work with all of you. Our next speaker is a very interesting guy. He has cruising in his blood. He is a sea captain from the Marine Academy of Genoa, Italy. He has sailed around the world. He has worked for 3 cruise lines at sea and on land, and now he is the president of Metro Shore Services. Please welcome Stefano Berzone Pina.
Thank you, Monique. As opposed to to the preceding speaker, I brought notes, and I think I'll follow them today. Good afternoon, Mayor Lee, Director Moyer, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to represent Metro this afternoon on behalf of our Chairman and CEO, James Callan, the Board of Directors, and the entire Metro management team. please allow me to express our gratitude and how thankful we are to have this partnership in place with the great city of San Francisco to manage this new cruise terminal. Metro has indeed a unique history as a stevedore company in this city that goes back to the 1800s and to the gold rush. It's a piece of history we treasure as a company and we share with our partners. Indeed, it is impossible for us today to conceal our emotion as we celebrate the grand opening of the James R. Herman Cruise Terminal in San Francisco. This is a beautiful and capable facility built for a true maritime city, living and breathing by the sea like few others in the world. While the journey, as it was remarked earlier, to get here was challenging, the journey to build this cruise terminal was challenging, we now can look at one of the world's greatest ports, indeed having a world-class cruise facility. And we celebrate that. What makes this terminal special is certainly its extraordinary location right along the waterfront in the heart of San Francisco, its large and spacious ground transportation area, which is unique, as well as the flexibility of its layout, an important feature. San Francisco was always a spectacular cruise destination. I'm often asked, what makes a port a special port? Well, San Francisco pretty much sums it up. There is everything here that a cruise port needs or will ever need. What it was missing was a cruise terminal, a cruise infrastructure that could accommodate and welcome large cruise vessels built today, as opposed to the ones that were built as liners a long time ago. The James R. Herman Cruise Terminal has fixed that. And it is extraordinarily exciting for us to celebrate that today. Now, as all the planning, all the discussion, all the negotiation, all the work has ended, construction is over, it is now time for us to execute flawless operations to maximize the potential of this beautiful cruise terminal. It's now time to go to work and comply and exceed the expectations of our very customers that we are welcoming here today. We will do so working closely with our partners, certainly starting with ILW, providing labor and supervision to load baggage, stores, and everything we do with these cruise ships. We will work with Local 10, Local 91, Local 75, Local 34. Many partners in this city with whom we interface every day, and we thank for their cooperation. We couldn't do it without them. We couldn't begin to do it without them. We also rely on Herman Studios, a leader in special events in the Bay Area, to help us produce and deliver those special events that we have planned whenever we don't have vessels alongside, an important feature. We also rely on InPark, a leader in the parking business that will manage all the parking activities here for us. The strength of these key relationships will be essential for the success of this facility going forward. In closing, we couldn't be more excited about the opportunities that this terminal offers, and we can't wait to begin maximizing them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stefano, for all of your work and all of your world knowledge that you've brought to us. I know our guests really appreciate it. I also want to recognize the leader, Nancy Pelosi, and all that she has done with us. She's represented today by her daughter, Christina Pelosi, and I saw Dan Bernal somewhere. Thank you very much for being here today. I see the Fire Chief, Joanne Hayes-White, coming in, so thank you. There's Dan. Thank you very much for all of your help. And just a small plug for my new neighbor. I saw Flicka McLaren of Pier 23 Cafe. If you haven't been over there, you got to get over there. It is the greatest place next to the cruise terminal. So back to a little cruise history. Back to the 1900s, everything was grand. Cruising was becoming our guilty pleasure in the United States. And then, of course, we all know we hit the Great Depression. We had World War II. and cruising kind of went by the wayside. But in the 1970s, something very interesting happened. A TV show came along, The Love Boat. Who could forget Captain Steubing, the dock, bartender Isaac Washington, or cruise director Julie McCoy? Filmed on an actual Princess Cruises ship, the Pacific Princess. And our last speaker today spent the summer of 1980 as an assistant cruise director. Your wife ratted you out. Girl power. Sailing in and out of San Francisco. So who better to have here today with magnificent ships? This guy is the Vice President of Shore Operations. From assistant cruise director to sailing the world, 350 ports he's responsible for, 4,000 excursions. His job is to go around the world and find great itineraries. How cool is that? Please welcome Bruce Crumrine.
Well, thank you, Gunslinger. I owe you one for that. But Mayor Lee and everyone, I want to thank you very much for inviting Princess to be a part of today's celebration. You know, I can't think of anything that's more appropriate than having the Grand Princess here for such a grand event. So thank you very much for inviting us. You know, and speaking of special events, in 2015, Princess celebrates its 50th anniversary. Yeah. You know, we began in 1965 with one small ship cruising from Los Angeles. And it was in 1969 that we made our way north to San Francisco. And from here, we pioneered cruising to Alaska. You know, how fitting that your city, whose very history began with the Alaska Gold Rush, would be the starting point for many generations to come to discover our last frontier. Today, Princess is the largest premium cruise line in the world. We have 18 ships, and we carry over 1.7 million passengers, literally all around the world. But after 45 years from our first visit here, we still call San Francisco home. So we are very, very proud to be part of your long maritime tradition and to contribute to your leading industry, tourism. And we were also honored to participate in the Blue Ribbon panel that helped design this landmark building on your iconic waterfront. And we are also honored to call you not only business partners, but friends. So we congratulate you on your new cruise terminal, and we look forward to being with you as we wish our passengers bon voyage for many years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And so bon voyage, ladies and gentlemen, is the theme today. And as you know, it is a words of greeting and goodwill as you embark on a trip or a new journey. And our new journey is about to begin. Mr. Mayor, will you do the honors?
Okay. Are you all ready? I hereby officially declare the opening of the James R. Herman Cruise Ship Terminal of San Francisco.